Now, our next guest has been with us before. He's West Virginia State Treasurer Riley Moore, and he's a fascinating figure, I think, in American politics because he not only comes from a major coal-producing state, but he is taking on woke corporations and investment funds that are trying to put his citizens out of business. Riley, thanks so much for joining us on the U.S. Report. Big news, first of all. I want to talk to you about this. The midterms have just concluded, but you're already looking forward to 2024. Tell us what you're up to.
Yeah, thanks again for having me back on. Yes, I've announced just last month that I am going to seek the nomination of my party to run for the 2nd Congressional District here in West Virginia. And excited to get around the state and the district, start talking about that. And what I'm going to do is continue to build on the work that I've been doing as state treasurer to push back on the ESG movement, woke corporations that have been trying to destroy the fossil fuel industry in our state and across the country, frankly. So I'm looking forward to hopefully carrying on that fight at the federal level. There's a lot of work that can be done there, so I'm excited to get into it.
And the last time we spoke, we talked about your fight against corporate wokeness and ESG and net zero policies, which, as viewers know, force companies to make investment decisions based on murky and environmental feel-good measures. And now I read that the Biden administration is even subjecting Americans' retirement savings to this. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is terrible. So the Biden administration has rolled back a Trump administration rule on private retirement plans that are essentially like your 401k, where it was prohibited that ESG factors could be used in that investment of those retirement dollars. They have rolled back that rule, which is now going to put people's retirement dollars that are not necessarily public, like a pension fund, into this ESG scheme that is losing money. We've seen BlackRock now has dropped one of their ESG ETFs because no one had any interest in it. It's not making any money. We've seen BlackRock lose over $2 trillion just this year from the type of things that they're doing in terms of their investment schemes in the ESG framework. So this is terribly dangerous, and it's only going to hurt the American consumer in the long run.
But, I mean, Riley, is there a sort of a turn starting to happen? Because you mentioned BlackRock before, but one of the world's biggest fund managers, Vanguard Group, has said they are going to walk away from these policies because obviously the bottom line is ultimately what matters to them and their investors.
Oh, yes. No, there is a turn going on here. There's absolutely a turn going on. First of all, we've now had 8 states that have divested from BlackRock. But secondly, as you just mentioned, Vanguard has left the International Association of Net Zero Asset Managers. $7 trillion walking away from that is nothing to blink at. That is very serious. So they have dropped that association that they have had in commitment to decarbonize their portfolio by a certain given time here. And this is how we're going to win. We provide risk on the other side of the equation here and continue to push back against this, and then also move capital and assets and leverage our power at the state level. And it is working. We need to continue this fight, though, to finish this off. And that is why I'm running for Congress, because it will take some federal legislation and some action at that level.
Riley Moore, thank you so much. There's a few Australian politicians who watch this show who I think will like to take a page out of your playbook. Appreciate you joining us, and good luck with the race, and we'll talk to you next year.